Hey everyone, welcome back to the Castaway Consultants, where we teach future Survivor players how to play the game by criticizing current players. I'm your host, Ryan Stacy, and today we are joined by special guest, Zac Brown. And that's going to be a good quarter to a third of the podcast, so I hope you like country music. In the meantime, before, Zach's going to get set up, so we'll get to that in a moment, but let me bring in Josh Wessler and Derek Kupchak, my other fabulous co-hosts who are also huge country music fans.
Hi
Twing
guys.
a twang a twing a twang.
Okay, but Josh, don't you actually kind of like country music?
I like some country music. Not a lot of modern country, more classic. I will say, I'm sure we'll bash what ended up happening tonight a little bit, maybe just a little bit once it actually comes around. I will say. I do really like a couple of Zac Brown band songs, so get that out of the way now. But no, I'm not really a country guy. Just select few, a select few good ones.
If you gave me time and a gun to my head, I could probably pick like five good country music songs, maybe. Yeah, we'll definitely get more into this. I hated this. Why isn't like My Chemical Romance coming out to do Survivor Awards or
Does MCR do it? Would MCR do an acoustic set? Because you'd have to probably.
probably
That's what Gerard Way, right?
yeah. Why is it Gerard Way out there on Survivor spearfishing? That's my favorite band.
Well, and I don't know a ton, but Gerard Way, one story I do know is that him and the Jonas Brothers, they were in the same studio recording at the same time. And I want to say it was Nick Jonas. It might have been Kevin Jonas passed by Gerard Way, like outside the studio, and he was like, "Hey, Gerard." And I guess Gerard just said, "F you," and just kept walking. And whether it was Kevin or Nick, we're just like, "Oh, okay."
All right then.
A fair reaction to the Jonas Brothers.
No.
B, I have heard Gerard Way can be a bit of a dick. So take that for what it's worth. It kind of sucks. My favorite song of all time, not to get off into a music podcast, my favorite song of all time is a Smashing Pumpkins song, Tonight Tonight. Billy Corgan, also notorious dickhead.
Wait, is that the one that goes, "We're going at it tonight.
Gonna-
Tonight. There's a party on the rooftop.
No,
top of the world."
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. I hate when you do that. Derek, absolutely knows that is not the tonight I am referring to, but he does it anyway. I hate Derek so much. But yes, so some musicians are not very nice people because they're artists. But hey, that's okay. Why isn't Hollywood Undead going out to Fiji to perform? Where's my Hollywood
That would be
Undead?
awful. Absolutely awful.
One of my other favorite bands.
If you can't
God,
tell, Ryan has a very specific taste in
I'm
music,
gonna get blasted for my music taste, I feel like.
as you should for the most part.
Ryan has like two genres of music that he likes. We are getting so off topic.
Well, this is Survivor's fault.
I mean, I guess, yeah, we're letting music occupy like a third of this podcast now. We're not even into spoilers yet.
Zac Brown was in this episode.
I thought the strategy in this episode was interesting despite what turned into basically 25 minutes of the social hour. And that will be interesting to talk about.
Yeah.
And you know what? I want to tease a diverging opinion as well about this episode that I'm going to bring up. So, hey,
I don't know if it's going to be diverging, but I'm also excited to talk about the whole 20 minutes of strategy that we got here.
There are things to talk about, just maybe not as much as a normal episode, at least strategy-wise. Well, should we get into spoilers now that we've thoroughly discussed Zac Brown? I'm just kidding. We're going to discuss Zac Brown some more.
yeah, not that there are as many spoilers as usual to worry about, but still go watch the episode. Skip if that's not your thing, skip the middle 30 minutes.
Yeah, like, okay, so if you haven't watched the episode yet and you're not a Zac Brown fan, you can fast forward. There's nothing else there. Go for it.
Go through the immunity challenge and then fast forward until you get to the tribe that looks sad.
Yes, exactly.
And then we're going to talk about Zac Brown for a little while. And then we're going to go to the next tribe.
Yeah, you're right. We're still going to talk about it.
Sorry, I had to do that. Okay. A spoiler alert in three, two, one.
We are going to lose Mike White tonight, and I'm sad.
I mean, you could say that Mike White a little too close to the Mike White, and the wax of Mike White wings melted away. But this was the only way he was going to win, and I'm not upset. He had to do this.
No, No, he didn't.
I think he did. I
Nope.
think this is
There
exactly
were
the kind of thing that had to happen.
easier options in this case, better options in this case. So yeah, Mike White, I think he shot himself in the foot a little bit here.
Game
Oh,
Mike White, yes.
he definitely shot himself in the foot. And as we've been saying the last couple of episodes, Mike White needs to Mike White all over the place. That doesn't mean you have to be the dominating force on every single vote and just do the craziest thing every single time. You can make moves in the game, be very present, but still make sure that you advance far enough to make it to the end. I'm sad to see Mike White go, but I actually enjoyed the way that it happened. At least it was an entertaining conclusion to his story.
Yes, I agree completely with that. I think it was that's why I wasn't like I'm like, oh, that's a bummer, and I don't think it was a very good move in the end. But it was like at least an interesting end of the storyline, which is that works too.
And if you're gonna get taken out in Survivor, man, a 3-2-1 vote is a way to do it.
Yeah, the 3-2-1. We get a legendary 3-2-1, a rare 3-2-1 sighting. You'll love to see it. Suri was not involved in the 3-2-1, which is the most shocking part.
Somewhere on another beach, Suri like turned over.
Felt a disturbance in the force.
Yeah, it felt a disturbance in the force. Yeah.
But yeah, that is the end of White Lotus this time. We'll see if Angelina comes out for revenge. I don't know if Christian will be getting a cameo on White Lotus after this.
There'll be no living with her after this.
You guys ready to jump into the episode proper?
We can do it.
Okay. So we get back to camp after the Q vote. Stephanie is very gracious after being left out. She does a really good job. Probably just the relief that it wasn't her. Seems like she and Angelina make up a little bit. So yeah, good for them. But Ozzy and Emily talk. Ozzy really wants Angelina out next. We did the thing that she wanted, got out Q. Now it's Ozzy's turn. He wants Angelina out. Emily agrees because that'll break up the David versus Goliath crew. And basically Ozzy's plan, take out Angelina and then bring in Stephanie and then Mike White because he wants Mike White in his alliance. Yeah, so here's the problem with this is Ozzy is going to get so set on Angelina going next. When the math don't math. We have 6 people on this tribe. 3 of them are in the David versus Goliath alliance. Who is leaving that trio? Both of them? You think, Ozzy? I just don't know where he's getting the confidence in these numbers.
And that's not even like the math that I want to attack. To me, it's Emily, why are you so gung ho about establishing a great working relationship with Ozzy when you have a great working relationship so far with 3 other people that you want to work with? Yes, the David versus Goliath trio is very dangerous come merge. Do you want to know who else is going to know that? Literally everybody else left in the game, but having a group of 3 to work with you and knowing that to other people in the game, you are not the first target in that group of 4. They're going to break up the David versus Goliath trio first. I don't know why she is so set on, it's Ozzy's turn to pick. What do you mean it's Ozzy's turn to pick? You're the one who played silly last time, Emily. So she's playing with, I think, more agency than this swap has given her, and that's not good for her.
I think that they could have done something with Angelina just because, you had the Dave versus Goliath 3 vote together once. Doesn't mean they're going to do it every time. They could have had a 4-2 vote against Angelina if they really wanted to.
But why would they?
Well, because all you need to do is get Christian. Like in that 3, all you need to do is get Christian. And as Christian showed, he's willing to turn on, someone in that group of 3.
Yeah, which is bad. And why should he? That's the question. That's to go back to my original point. Why is Ozzy so confident on this math when this math doesn't or should not work? That's the problem with this. I'm going to be a little hard on Ozzy in this episode. He's going to be so confident, so locked in on Angelina, he's going to go fishing, which is exactly what he did last time and got himself voted out. He's got to stop going fishing. But it just doesn't make sense mathematically. Survivor's a game of numbers. There's more to it than that, obviously. But just the basic numbers don't make sense for Ozzy, and I don't know why he thinks they do.
Unless Emily has promised that she's got Christian, because maybe Christian has assuaged Emily's fears by saying, they voted me out in David versus Goliath. So, I mean, people think that we're close. I was set to win that game until I got voted out by them.
And anyone who goes on a returning season, never forget the most important relationships are the past ones. Stephen Fishback will attest to this. He thought he was closest to Spencer, now known as Ryman, and he thought that because they got so close, like prior to the season and being out there, he thought the old prior past relationships wouldn't matter as much, and they did. Spencer Ryman picked Tasha over Steven. So remember that. Remember who's played with who. Angelina, she wants Stephanie out next.
Which is, I think, the most logical move.
Yes.
Angelina being the sane man on this tribe right now.
Yes. Not good.
More to say about that later.
Yep. We're going to briefly check in with Sela. Charlie still hates Rizzo. Stay tuned on that one.
Worst player of the episode.
All in confessional.
Very likely next week, that could happen.
If Charlie doesn't go home next week, he might have a worst player of the episode with his name stamped on it.
I'm officially
Don't worry,
worried.
I'm not gonna give it to him this episode.
Yeah, you can't do that.
I mean, Josh can do what he wants, and we just get to Riz got in.
All your credibility if you do that in this episode.
Hey, I had one listener agree with me, so thank you.
Aubrey's gonna go idol hunting. So the others also kind of go looking for her, but Genevieve is going to be the one to find the boomerang idol, her second one. This time she's going to send it to Rizzo. Rizzo's got an idol. If Genevieve had seen 49, maybe she would have picked somebody else, but she hasn't seen 49.
Did you guys see the story that came out this week about this idol?
No.
Yeah, you guys don't go on social media. So allegedly, the Billie Eilish boomerang idol was not created by Billie Eilish. It was created by Survivor producers. They had a handful of ideas for idols, and they came to Billie Eilish with those options. She picked one, and then they wrote the note saying, "Hey, it's Billie Eilish." They wrote the note for her. So she had allegedly she had very little to do with the actual creation of this idol.
Cool. We're just gonna call it boomerang idol.
Yes. Which I would have no issue with it if they weren't every single episode saying the Billie Eilish boomerang idol. So I thought that was funny.
How embarrassing. Seriously, for production, anyone who was involved with that, how embarrassing.
You could have given it to Zac Brown and given him something else to do.
Zac Brown boomerang idol.
Like what if you had Zac Brown boomerang idol and then Zac Brown's on the island and someone has the chance to talk to Zac Brown about the boomerang idol?
I hate all of this. This is embarrassing. Survivor production, I'm big fans of the podcast. You should be embarrassed. You should be. This is embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for you. So now that I've completely taken my chance of ever working on the show, hire me. I'll do a better job.
If one thing is certain, Ryan is not the yes man you're looking for.
Yes men have no place on this planet.
Unfortunately, they have plenty of places on this planet, but not on this podcast.
No, they have no place on this planet. They found a place, but they have no place here.
You
know what, Derek? Sun. Yes, I agree with you, Derek.
And that's how Josh left the Castaway Consultants. It was an amicable split.
It was that, and then picking Charlie for worst player of the episode. It was the combo. It was the Wombo combo. All right, we're gonna go to the immunity challenge. 15 minutes of the episode. And we're all just like, what? Are we gonna do maybe 2 boots tonight? No, that's next week.
That's next week.
No, first place gets Zac Brown.
Oh, so that's why we're doing this so early in the episode.
And it's called several times the greatest reward in Survivor history. I'm sorry, Boston Rob threw a clue into a volcano.
I'm pretty sure there was a reward where they watched Jack and Jill.
Yeah, Coach was there.
Coach has gotten the best reward of all time and the worst reward of all time.
No, he's gotten the 2 best rewards of all time.
I would rather get the Jack and Jill reward because I love a good bad movie. And I would probably hate Jack and Jill with every fiber of my being, but I like movies, and I could hate watching a movie and have a good time.
And plus, you could be like Jake O'Kane, right? Like, I'm watching Jack and Jill on Survivor.
Or what was the other one? It's the Jack Black movie, Gulliver's Travels.
Yeah, Gulliver's Travels.
I would take that reward over Zac. I do not like country music almost at all. There's 5 decent country songs I can name. All Zac Brown fan haters, come at me. It's fine. I don't care. But no, the winning tribe is going to get to go to the Survivor Sanctuary,
where good things happen,
if you say so. Zac Brown is going to cook them a meal. He's going to go spearfishing himself to catch the fish, which I'll give him credit. He's good. I don't know how hard spearfishing is, but he catches a couple of monsters. And then let's do a concert.
And he had
So
some
that's
like
the
he
one.
didn't have survivor fishing equipment. It looked like his own equipment or really beefed up equipment. But still get props.
A
Props.
real spear gun. Like that thing was big.
And he didn't care about any sharks.
And honestly,
Respect to that.
looked fun. Looked fun. Second place, they get immunity, but no Zac Brown concert. So if I'm on this season, I'm going for second place, maybe.
No. The food is worth it.
Yeah,
So-
that's true. The food is a thing. So immunity challenge. It's a brutal one. Kalo wins. Healy gets second. Poor Vatu doesn't get close. Brutal challenge because they don't have like a Jonathan or a Joe on their tribe. So Kalo's gonna go on the Zac Brown reward, and this is where I stopped taking notes for a long time because there was nothing of interest at this reward.
The only thing I want to say about the challenge is one, I said I don't think that they're even going to be able to get that boat up the beach. They did get it up the beach, but they didn't actually get the boat to the end of the track, so I take partial credit for that. And then Ryan and I talked about it at length during commercial break and Zac Brown that we're not sure even having Q would have made a difference because Q would have been the tallest member on that tribe and the strongest. Well, with Ozzy being a little older, Jonathan is huge. Joe is huge. Colby has some height. Coach has some height. The other tribes have height for creating this arch. I think that Vatu was doomed regardless of what happened at the last tribal.
Charlie has done this challenge before and won.
Yep. And Q has done this challenge before and lost.
So yeah, I don't even think having Q here would have been enough.
No, it would have made it a little bit closer. Maybe they would have gotten to the puzzle. Maybe.
Okay, so I'm done with Zac Brown. This was stupid and a waste of my time, and I'm mad at Survivor for doing this.
I disagree. I liked it. I liked it. I'm gonna take the complete opposite side of the coin, and not just because I'm leaning into a persona here. There are so very few times where modern Survivor slows down a little bit and lets you appreciate the little things so well. I think that it was gratuitous. It went on a bit too long. I'm not mad that he was here. I'm not mad that he did this. And you know what? When he was playing his first song and they did the wide shot of him playing guitar and everyone just sitting there enjoying the music, that is a small taste of old school Survivor where it is about the human moments. And I think something that we do take for granted is when we watch the show, it is scored. It has music, it has emotion infused into it in post. Whereas when they're out there, the only music they have is the music they make. And they had a professional musician go out there and give them something to listen to. So when I bake all of that into my head and I try and empathize with their situation, I think that this is a cool reward. I think it's overstated. It's not the best one. It's not even that legendary in my opinion. And you know what? I honestly believe after watching Zac Brown go out and do that spearfishing, he'd be like, no, this isn't the most legendary reward. And like, I understand this is showbiz. They're going to prop me up, but I would bet that even he's a little bit annoyed with how much screen time he got. If he's a fan of the show, he's probably a little annoyed. That said, I'm going to enjoy it for what it was. It's something different. You don't have to do this every season. Ryan would probably say never do it again.
Yes,
Uh,
never
but-
do it again.
But like, I'm going to try and enjoy it for what it is. I hope that there are some listeners out there who are with me on it. I enjoy that they took a risk and they did something different here.
I don't really care, honestly, that much. I get what they're doing because it's Survivor 50. They're tossing a bunch of celebrities in there. That's why they have Billie Eilish doing her Boomerang Idol, even though she had allegedly very little part in it. As far as this reward goes, so I actually really like that he did Colder Weather because that's my favorite song of his. I don't know if that's a hot take or anything.
Cold take.
I don't even think it's close that I think it's his best song. And it's actually like a top tier song just in general. It's just really good. So kind of jealous of that. I really like this reward for when you're on the season. I don't think it was great TV just because I get everything Derek is saying. There was a lot of self-promotion going on in here. We focused on a new song that he is releasing. We focused on his brand of wine that he had there. Like there was shilling here, even if it was very subliminary. If you're gonna do this and have it be Zac Brown's a giant fan and he designed this reward and blah blah blah, great, cool, awesome. I don't mind that. Spend less time on it and don't have it be so self-promoting.
I think so Zac Brown is going to say like, hey, I just wanted to be part of Survivor. Zac Brown, if you want to be part of Survivor, ask Jeff to put you on a season. I'm sure he will. and this goes for every celebrity. If you are a fan and want to be part of it, be part of the cast and actually play it, and then it's fine because then you are a factor on the field. If you're not gonna do that, then don't waste my time, which is what happened tonight.
Who knows? Maybe he went through casting and they determined, hey, you'd be terrible on TV in Survivor. Here's a consolation. Maybe that's how it went.
I don't believe that for a second. I think if Zac Brown really wanted to be on Survivor, I think they'd put him on.
And you know what? If Zac Brown's on 51 or 52, that's awesome. But if he's on my season, I'm sorry, Zac. I'm voting you out. You don't get to take my screen time.
Agreed. Moving on with our lives. We'll go over to Vatu. They're going to tribal council. So yeah, here's all the chaos and strategy and when this episode gets good. So we start with Emily, Stephanie, and Ozzy. They all want Angelina out. They want this David versus Goliath trio broken up. Again, you don't have the numbers technically to do that. And I don't know how you would. But Ozzy's going to try pitching this to Christian and Mike. And Mike is like, she's not a threat and she's a number for me. So why would I do that? It's fair. It's a fair point, Mike. Why would you? So Mike's going to fill in Angelina, what's going on. And so Mike's going to pitch, like, how about we take out Emily instead? But Christian, who has a tight relationship with Emily, doesn't want to do that. Okay. So how about we keep things simple and we just take out Stephanie? Do you really think Emily, maybe Ozzy might, but do you really think Emily will go to Rocks for Stephanie? No. Just vote out Stephanie. This is easy. You have the weight. You have half the tribe here. You can just force your way through this by threat of a rock drop. Easy. So it should have been that simple.
If anything, that like Christian was saying about, oh, Ozzy is really close to Mike, so we can't glue him into the vote. That should tell you that if Mike wants to take out Stephanie, he should be able to pretty easily convince him. So I don't think that a rock draw should even be something to worry about at this point.
I agree. And talking about it, even from, I think, again, Christian ends up being the actual linchpin, no matter what goes on here. I think Christian still is. The only thing that's at threat with Ryan's plan here, which to me is game theory, the correct move, is that Emily is mad that you forced her to do something that she doesn't want to do. But then again, Christian, you could always say, Emily, you owe me one. Like the last one was for everyone's own good. You want this, I want this, you owe me one. And then Emily can go play her own game. If Emily is bitter about that, Christian should also understand that Emily is the kind of player who would always turn and cut his throat anyway. Mike White actually thought of this way better than I did. Emily is kind of another Gabby situation for Christian. She is willing to do that. And I mean, I don't know Emily personally, and she seems very nice. I think she has the ability to be better at being cutthroat than Gabby.
Yeah. So yeah, Mike is going to paint Emily as Gabby. So for those who don't remember, because we haven't actually covered David versus Goliath. We haven't covered. Christian was very tight with another player named Gabby. They had a big nerd bond from the get-go, and they were kind of one of the dynamic duos of this season. And then Gabby tried to take out Christian. She eventually realized, like, Christian's going to win. We got to turn on him. And, Christian played an idol, and Gabby ended up going home. And it was really, really, really funny. But, Christian was betrayed and stabbed in the back by his closest ally, who is similar to Emily. So Mike paints this. This does affect Christian. Mike is right, I think. Emily is someone who, would stab Christian in the back. But Christian takes this the wrong way. And Christian is going to say, Mike White's really smart. We should take him out. Mike White is really smart. You should not take him out. He is a David versus Goliath person. He is a huge target. He also can't win. Mike White is a perfect person to keep in the game for a while, unless he is like actively trying to screw up your game, which he isn't really here. He made a really good point to Christian.
A point, by the way, that Christian already knows is true because Emily was siphoning off information that she shouldn't have in a very blasé type of panicky, desperate attitude. One vote ago. Yep. Sorry to interrupt you.
So Christian ends up like, we should take out Mike. No, that's not what the conclusion should be here, Christian. If you really want to keep Emily in the game, that's fine. At this point, this is going to change shortly. At this specific point, If you want to insist and say, let's just do Stephanie, none of us care about Stephanie, let's just keep her. You can insist on that point. But yeah, turning on Mike is not the right move in any way, shape, or form.
I agree 100%. I think, Christian, you're on season 50. You're surrounded by players. You're surrounded by people who are able to persuade and able to see the game clearly for themselves, and maybe even can see your game fairly clearly and frame it up to you. You should not be scared of someone who can frame your game up to you like that if there's someone who wants to work with you and someone who's reasonably, I don't want to say loyal, but predictable. Mike White wants to work with you. He wants to work with Angelina. And he would like to work with Emily, but she is causing a lot of problems for the trio that you're included in. So, Christian, why are you backing out of the trio that you're included in? That would give you a stranglehold on this version of the swapped tribe for the foreseeable future. It is learning the wrong lesson from the right information. You could say, okay, Mike White, know your audience a little better. Maybe you stab him with the knife, but you don't twist it. You lead the horse to water and maybe he'll realize it. But also, there is something to be said about just saying it rather than beating around the bush.
Yeah. Reminder, we're in the pre-merge here, so maybe just go with the easy option. In my opinion, Stephanie's that easy option right now. It's not a flashy move. It's not a satisfying move. It's a number to get you closer to the end, to get you closer to the merge. And I think that the biggest factor is what Ryan said, is that Mike White is not going to be hiding at any point in this season. You are going to be able to make a case to take Mike White out. And if this is just kind of, well, one of those things that you put in the back of your mind, as far as like, oh yeah, Mike is, really playing this game and he knows the right things to say to the right people. Noted. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with thinking about that throughout the game and then picking a better spot to take him out, probably post merge. Not saying that Emily was the right choice here either, because I do think that it was Stephanie, but it just seemed a little too reactionary.
Yes.
But everything will change.
Everything will change, but yes. Everything gets more complicated.
Yes, I'll agree. Yes. That's fair. That's fair.
So Christian's going to put together a 3-2-1, which is what is going to be what happens. He's going to get Emily and Stephanie together, and the three of them, they're going to vote for Mike. Then obviously Mike and Angelina, they would vote for Emily, and then Ozzy would be left in the dark voting for Angelina. Perfect 3-2-1. However, Emily does not want to leave Ozzy out because she is insisting that she has this extra bond with Ozzy. Like, okay, but Emily, you're next, the one that's on the line here. So you got to be careful about this. And she almost tells Ozzy what's going on in front of Christian and Stephanie. She starts to. She says, Mike is gunning for me. And Christian basically threatens to kill her. And tells her to chill out. And, they don't say anything else. And they're just like, oh, yeah, it's Angelina. But yeah, Mike was trying to mess things up. But it's Angelina. So she doesn't end up going through with it, but that was so close that if I'm Christian, I'd be like, you know what, maybe Emily should go, because she is not a reliable ally at all. I'm like, you know what, I'm out. If I'm Christian, you could still get rid of Stephanie, but if the current is flowing towards Emily, I might be like, you know what, I'm gonna go with the reliable allies and not Emily. So if Emily had ended up going here, I would have fully got it 100%.
Yeah, I think there's two things here. So for Emily, like you said, if you are the one with your neck on the line, don't fight to have, everything go perfectly the way that you would want it to go. You should, if you have that right bond, you should be able to either talk to Ozzy after the vote or trust that his anger, it will be focused in more on the person who created this move in the first place, being Christian. We saw next time on Survivor, or even at the end of Tribal Council, he was already talking to Christian about, no, it's too late, man. Like he's going to be upset about this. So hope that he can just focus in on one person, and that you can just, be that person who is in desperation mode, and there'll be forgiveness tied to it. The second thing was related to Christian and the thought of whether or not this needs to be Emily after, she has vocalized this to Ozzy. And I don't think it has to be. I think that you can stick with your original intention here. You can blindside Mike. Again, probably should be Stephanie, but if you really want to, you can still blindside Mike. But just this should be your changing moment. I feel like everyone kind of gets one on Survivor. She had her one when she spilled the beans about the idol. It's hard, but you can forgive her for that. Now, this is starting to become a trend, and you really have to be wary about Emily going forward. You already have a number one in Devins. It seems like Emily was kind of just your third in that group, and she might be a good enough player to realize that she's the third in that group and cut one of you or both of you at some point. So it's okay to keep Emily for this one, but you should be really, really, really wary about how far you bring her going forward.
If I'm Christian and now I have seen that Emily is going to be an unreliable tribe mate, no matter what, if I try and trust her with anything, she is liable to blab to someone to try and benefit her game. I don't blame Emily for that, but she needs to be better about when and how she does that. So I
Yep.
That's why I agree with Ryan. If the wind was blowing toward Emily at this point, I'd say, yeah, like maybe try and press Stephanie, like press on the Stephanie vote a little bit. But if someone's like, no, it's got to be Emily, I'd be like, yeah, that's fine. Let's just move forward and get into the post merge with something reliable.
Yep. We're going to go to tribal council. It is going to be 3 votes for Mike, 2 votes for Emily, 1 for Angelina. I'm going to land on this is the wrong move. It should have been Stephanie if we rewind it all the way back to, you lose the immunity challenge. What happens next? It's pretty simple. It's Stephanie. Chaos happens. Chaos theory. Emily almost blows everything up. If that happens and we get to Emily going home instead, I can live with that. I think both of those are better than voting out Mike. So Stephanie is 1A. Emily is 1B if she does what she does. Because then, you do, if someone does something stupid, then it's their own fault. So that's where I'm at.
I agree with Ryan completely. I think Stephanie is the ideal. And given where we landed, Emily or Angelina or Mike White, because they all got votes, right? Emily is the right one to go there. Maybe Christian felt like he had dug too greedily and too deep, where if he doesn't go through with the 3-2-1, then Stephanie and Emily will never trust him. Now, I wouldn't care about Stephanie, and honestly, you shouldn't care about Emily's trust anymore either. She has already fooled you once and twice. You saved it. So yeah, I agree.
I'm just going to say it should have been Stephanie. It shouldn't have even gotten to this point.
That's fair. That's very fair. If Emily played better, it shouldn't have gotten here. If everyone played optimally, just easy Stephanie.
Even before Emily didn't need to do anything if Mike and Christian wouldn't have gone on all these tangents before that. Emily's reactions were as a result of those things, splitting down that path.
Sure. Yeah, it got overcomplicated needlessly. What did social media think?
I have a feeling that Mike White is a darling, and they're going to say this was the wrong move.
Yeah.
Ooh, interesting. It is slightly in favor of no. Saying the wrong person went home. I'd say about 60%.
Oh wow. Okay, that's surprising. Okay, shall we get into best and worst player of the episode?
I think so.
Yeah.
All right, for best, I don't love it, but I'm gonna go with Stephanie. She just kind of kept her head down and let the game fall apart around her so she could rise. That's what you have to do in a situation like this. She was very gracious after tribal council, that's step 1. Nailed it. And then she was part of the plan to take on Mike. That should not have happened, but it is great for her game. So yeah, say what you want about Stephanie, and there's a lot of things people are saying about Stephanie, which I have not really looked into too much. I know it's not great, but I'm gonna give her best player of the episode, unfortunately.
Yeah, I didn't have one written down, but the second Ryan said Stephanie, I said, oh, that's the obvious pick. She was gone. She was going home. Everything in game theory says that she should have gone home. And even when things started to fall apart, she should still be the one going home. But sometimes in the pre-merge, as Josh alluded to earlier, it's stepping back and doing a little less and letting these other egos fight it out. So not good on the weirdo alliance, with Emily and Christian quickly turning into sort of a nightmarish duo, because we were so on board with this trio with them and Devins at the beginning. Yeah, Stephanie, by choosing to do less, has made it one more day, and sometimes in Survivor, as Emily should know, that's all you need. Because we all remember, if Hannah Rose does not quit, Emily goes home immediately and never returns to Survivor 50.
Funny. This was a weird one. There was just such bad gameplay throughout the entire episode, or most people just weren't shown. Like I was tempted to just go Genevieve here because she found an idol. I'll go with Stephanie, just because, like you said, came out the best in the end for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, honorable mention to Genevieve for babysitting Aubrey, which is another good plus for her. So yeah.
I know Aubrey was annoyed by it, but like, I don't know, get over yourself.
She was already annoyed.
She was annoyed, and she also said that she has no friends on the tribe. Like that's bad for Aubrey. Like I'm not the edit around Aubrey is so weird because the edit is telling me that she's like gonna go into the merge, and we're kind of getting her perspective on her tribe, but like nobody seems to like her. I'm trying to figure out what this means from an edit perspective. I don't know what to do with Aubrey.
I had to look back because Stephanie's been in Survivor for forever basically. I just went back and looked. This is the first time I've given her best player of the episode since episode 4 of Guatemala.
It's been a minute,
and it was a pretty weak award this time.
Yeah, hey,
hey, sometimes less is more.
Never thought I'd be looking back at my Guatemala notes, but here we are.
There's always a reason to look back at the Guatemala notes.
All right, worst player of the episode, Derek. Who do you got?
I'm going with Emily. I understand that she's on the right side of the vote. I understand that she's in on the 3-2-1, but everything going on in that tribe is because she doesn't understand when to sit back and do less. She always is playing with this frantic, not I don't say always, but she's so far in season 50 played with fairly frantic, frenetic, desperate energy around players who are trying to figure out who can be reliable going into the merge. Build trust going into the merge, and then figure out where to strategically break it post merge. And so far, she has seemed content to burn literally every bridge that she's built in favor of trying to build bridges that have no guarantee of being built. For being a risk analyst, she is certainly choosing some very interesting directions, some interesting paths. A bird in hand is worth two in the bush. Diversification isn't always good when you're talking about people, Emily. We are not stocks. So, Emily, big fan of the podcast. I'd love for you to come on to the podcast and let us know what were you thinking here, man?
Also, Derek and I will go on your podcast.
Probably have nothing to say. You're a better stock analyst than we are.
Nothing to add, at least. We'll talk Survivor.
You can have me on, but it would be a complete waste of everyone's time, which is, probably a bad idea. Josh, who you got for worst?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. Like this for both the best and the worst, this was such a weird thought process. Because it's either Christian, Emily, or Ozzy. Just because he was left out of the vote, like I don't think that was a good enough reason for Ozzy. And between Christian and Emily, while it was probably too reactive to make this decision, I think you could still at least explain a little bit of it away when you're Christian. So I think I'm going to default then to Emily, just based off of how she reacted throughout all the conversations. Going back to the social side of things, Christian is starting to remember all the things that have happened that are causing him to maybe not lose trust in you, but lose faith in you as an alliance member. So we'll see if that comes back to bite Emily or not, but I think that's enough to give her the worst player.
So yeah, I agree that it is between Emily, Christian, and Ozzy. Those were the three I were looking at. I took Emily off the table just because Mike going home is good for her. She was part of that plan. A bunch of dumb stuff happened. And in the end, she sees an opportunity and helped get rid of Mike, which is good for her. So that's why I removed her from the top three, worst three. So that leaves Christian and Ozzy. One person who played too hard, one person who didn't play hard enough. Which one's worse in this situation? I am going to go Ozzy because this kind of feels like a situation of you can't do math. And if he can do math, he isn't taking everything into account, and that's bad on him. He's not taking previous season into account, which he should be. He's got someone on a season he's played with before. There's no excuse. Christian, at least his plan was like a 3-2-1. So I'm going to give Christian dishonorable mention, and Ozzy's my worst player of the episode.
I'm not going to fight you on it too much. He was on the wrong side of the vote. The one thing between the Emily-Ozzy relationship that I would try to sway you, if I could, is that Emily is spending all this energy trying to retain and or maintain or build a relationship with Ozzy, and then ends up on paper blindsiding him and
Yep.
again not giving him what he wants. So it's like all of this goodwill spent, and she's in a worse off position because of it.
I see what you're saying. I do, but at least the David versus Goliath trio is broken up, and that is good for her.
I don't think it is good for her. I disagree with that. I already said why, because they make it to the merge, they're a target. But I get it.
It's just kind of all it's just all fractured now. So it's going to be interesting to see how like they move forward, either pre-merge or post-merge. Is this going to be a cohesive group?
No,
probably not.
No.
This is 5 fractured people here, which is interesting. All right, let's get into who is going next. We know we are getting 2 eliminations next week. One tribal, one immunity. The other 2 are both going to tribal council. So let us start with Sela and Josh. Josh, who's going off with Sela?
It depends which one's Sela.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, got it. I'm gonna change it. Before last week my answer was Suri. I'm switching it now to Charlie because Rizzo has an idol, and I think that he wants to play. He wants to make a move. He wants to make a name for himself around these returnees, and he wants to take someone out of the game who might be gunning for him. He doesn't know it yet in this episode, but I will believe that next time on Survivor, it seems like he is going to find out in some way that Charlie is going to be coming after him. So I think that the idol is going to reverse back onto Charlie.
Yeah, it really depends on whether or not Rizzo finds out Charlie's targeting him. So it's going to be one of those two. I'm going to guess Charlie just based on the storyline we've seen so far. Rizzo's been a little bit more dynamic on what his story is. Charlie has been very focused, and that tells me it's going to be his undoing. So Charlie.
It's basically from Editology. I would be very disappointed in Survivor Edit if this is the only storyline that we've gotten from them over the last 2 episodes and it goes nowhere. So I feel like we need a Charlie Rizzo head-to-head set up and have a payoff. Otherwise, I'll just be disappointed. So I'm going to go with Charlie as well.
I will take us over to Kalo. We have a similar situation here with Aubrey being a potential target with an idol in her pocket. I would hope that Aubrey learned from Edge of Extinction and maybe is a little like almost trigger happy on the idol, which is, you'd rather do that than be the opposite. So I'm going to say she plays the idol and knocks Genevieve out of the game.
I have the same prediction as of this point, which sucks for Genevieve because she's got 2 boomerangs in the air. But hey, what are you going to do?
I have an interesting thought. Depending on who goes to tribal council first, could Rizzo get blindsided from the game and the idol boomerangs to Genevieve before the second tribal council?
In theory.
Ooh.
Or Ozzy as well, because Ozzy has the other one.
Yeah. I don't know how the timing will work.
Because if they go back to back, could they get it into her bag ahead of time? Or would it be when they get back to camp kind of thing?
I think it should be before, Rizzo goes home, Genevieve gets the idol, she goes to tribal council. I think that's what it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. That'll be interesting. Josh.
I also had Genevieve. It's kind of weird just because it's the exact same situation as, why I picked Charlie.
Yep. Finally over on Batu, which I think is going to be just a cluster. Josh, who's going next?
I'm going with a course correction here. And, we had some chaos. I think we're going to reset a little bit and go back and revisit why is Stephanie in this game right now. Ozzy's going to be upset at Christian and Emily are kind of just on their own. Who knows what Angelina is going to do now that Mike's out of the game. Is she going to go back with Christian, or is she going to try to do something with someone else? I don't know who. I think that there might just be a realignment and Stephanie could be a common person to go home.
I think Stephanie's the least likely to go home except for Ozzy and his idol. I'm going to go. I think this whole thing is going to finally blow up and Christian's going to go home.
I see it as Ozzy finally getting an opportunity to get Angelina out of the game. Mike is already gone. He wants Angelina gone. He's already paired up with Stephanie and Emily. I guess you need to have some kind of follow through and an attempt to finish building this bridge, which leaves Christian and Angelina on the outs. Emily still wants to work with Christian, so therefore Angelina goes home. That's where I end up.
Yeah, fair.
Can we all agree that this tribe is almost certainly going to tribal next week?
And you know what? I kind of want it just because I think it will be the most interesting.
Say with 2 tribes going to tribal and losing a person, I think it's probably a safe bet.
It'd be amazing, like great for them if it's not them. Amazing.
I don't want it to be them because I think it'll be the least interesting because no battle lines have been drawn on the other tribes. So I desperately want to see them both go.
Yeah, I'm just thinking it's going to be somebody's going to get either idle or not playing idle.
Sure.
Whereas we have 5 free agents, and a lot of them are pissed at each other.
That's fair.
That could be funny. So yeah, I'm along for the ride on this one. Can't wait to see what happens. All right, let's get into who cannot win. Who can't win? I had Joe last, and I'm just gonna stick with Joe.
I had Chrissy last, and I'm just gonna stick with Chrissy.
It doesn't really feel right, but I'm gonna stick with Jonathan. Just again, not a lot of information this week.
I don't really get your Jonathan, but whatever, it's fine.
We have 3 different answers.
Yeah,
like, come on.
I get his. I don't get it.
Well, I don't get yours.
He's just sticking to his guns.
I don't believe you. We've seen Joe go to tribal council. Episode 2 happened.
And we've seen him go to final tribal council.
And we saw him go to a Zac Brown concert.
Let's get into the survivor pool. We have some big news here tonight.
Yes, we do.
Big news at this hour. Josh, take us to the pool. Take us for a nice swim in the pool.
I will take us to the pool. Before we get to the main event of the Survivor pool, let me shout out a couple of listeners here. So first of all, shout out to Jambo, Niall, and Tacos. Unfortunately, they did not get their picks in, so they are out after this week. Thank you for playing. Reminder to get your picks in. We did have one listener who did pick Mike White this week and is out. So shout out to Jeff on Spotify. You tried, you failed. Good luck next time.
And off to Ghost Island you go.
And, keeping with the rest of the content of that comment, Jeff had so graciously agreed with me on the very large anti-Emily sentiment last week. So he said, I'm ride or dying with Derek, and he picked Mike White. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I also picked Mike White. And so you know what? I also made the same mistake Christian did. I too thought that Emily would find her feet, learn from her mistakes, and not blow up the good thing twice.
So let this be a lesson. Ride or die with Derek.
And I was wrong.
Death.
How many times have you won the survival pool, Ryan?
That's what we're talking about here.
Once?
Hey, you don't get a say in this anymore. You're on Ghost Island.
No. Now I get to throw peanuts from the gallery.
No. You were not relevant.
Derek's out.
You get your mic cut in this section if you like.
Peanuts gone. But yes,
I'm going to leave it to Ryan to edit Derek out of every single Survivor pool going forward.
Yep. It's very easy. I can just drop his audio all the way until you can't even hear it.
Or
you can hear. You'll be able to hear him shouting in the background of my mic, but I'll just talk louder.
Just up the distortion
in the background.
It's just
He'll sound like you're way across the room, just trying to shout. You'll be right next to me, but you won't sound like it. You'll be shouting from the graveyard.
Give the wah-wah effect from like Charlie Brown.
Hey guys, that's a terrible Survivor pool pick.
Okay, Derek, shout in my ear. But yeah, so Derek is out of the Survivor pool. Mike White's his way out of this season.
I'm Mike Whited too close to the sun.
So rest in peace, Derek. You're off to Ghost Island. Have a blast. Josh, it's you and me, baby.
It's you and me. Would you like the honors?
Oh, technically it was supposed to be Derek's turn.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
So it's your turn.
All right, then I'll go. Thank you, Derek, for handing it over to me. Well, I am going to, like I mentioned, I think it's almost a certainty that Vatu goes to tribal council next week, so I'm just going to stay away from that entire tribe. So between Callow and Sela, I'm going to look towards the more obvious butting of heads of Charlie and Rizzo and use this as an opportunity to burn a big threat in the game. I already burned D earlier, so I'm now going to go with Sari as my Survivor pool pick.
I thought about Sari. Who did you have last week, by the way?
I had Jonathan last week, and you had Aubrey.
Yeah. So I was kind of thinking along the same wavelengths as Josh. Sari's a little too risky for my blood. Just like it could be all misleading. We go that way. So I want to do something similar, though. I'm picking D.
Yep.
So I don't think D's long for this game, but I think she'll get through this episode.
If I hadn't already used D, she was going to be my next one. And then I saw my list, and I'm like, oh, I already picked her. Okay, I guess it's Sari.
Now I believe we got a couple of questions and comments So
Yes.
get your Survivor picks in for next week, though, and congratulations, everybody, you beat Derek.
Not everybody beat me.
Congratulations,
not everyone.
Congratulations to everybody who's still in. You beat Derek.
Congratulations to most people. Let's be honest. This was a piss poor showing. But if I'm gonna go out, I'm glad I went out on a wrong move. 3-2-1.
And on Mike White.
And on Mike White. Honestly, like, this is an absolute loss, but like the best way to lose. You know, what did Mike say tonight at Tribal? Like, you'd rather lose with some people than win with others.
Yeah.
That's not the case.
Lose with Mike White than win with somebody else.
No, I'd rather dunk on your graves. But like, if I have to lose, this is the way to do it.
That's funny.
All right, on to our listener question. So first up is from Micah, and Micah asks, and this is a little interesting because he mentions Mike here. But with what you said about how Mike needs to play if he's going to win, do you think that if he wins, he's cemented his legacy as being on par with Parvati, Rob, Sandra, Tony? I don't know if we really need to talk about that a whole lot, but there's a second part of the question here, and that is, who else, beyond the obvious Suri, which I would agree with, on this season enters that top tier of all-time players if they win?
That's a good one. Let me look at the cast list. So if any of these people win, do they get, I think
kind of like who is pushing towards the Mount Rushmore of Survivor players if they win Survivor 50?
Christian, Charlie, D, Genevieve, Rizzo, and I think that's it.
So to me, the only person who enters Rushmore status is Sari.
Yep.
The only person who enters upper echelon is Genevieve, because Rachel was a very strong winner and Genevieve was number 2 and lost to a very good winner. And she's already had her fingerprints all over this season. Clearly, she is not a player who's going to sit back and take things lightly. So to me, on paper right now, where we are, Genevieve is the only one.
I disagree with that, just because how could you not say that D would be up there? She would be a 2-time winner.
I guess, yeah, if D wins, that's fair. That's fair. I had forgotten that D was a winner, and we're doing this live. So yes, if D becomes a 2-time winner, along with Tony and Sandra, she enters the conversation. Absolutely.
I think Charlie's a little weak on there, Ryan. My list would be D, absolutely. Suri, absolutely. I would toss Devins up there. I think that would be interesting. So I'm going to toss Devins in there. Me personally, I would not put Genevieve up there, but I know a lot of people would. And then I would put Ozzy up there, just because he's had such a weird arc to his Survivor career that if he does pull off a win, you almost have to get rid of a lot of the negativity behind his other seasons. And if it's just Ozzy as that player, it's like he won. He did it. So, it's there. So that would be my list.
Okay.
Great question, Mike.
Great question.
Next up, we have Blake. This is an interesting one. It's a little more like inside baseball with our podcast, but I did want to kind of bring it up just as a talking point. He said, not really a relevant question, but just asking if you don't mind sharing on the episode. What has the growth been like for the podcast? Only asking since it seems like we're more of an obscure podcast. If we're playing into our personas a little bit more. He mentioned Ryan always trying to be a little bit different for the bit, even though he might be known for being stubborn. Just kind of seeing a little bit behind the scenes.
Okay, so I am not the one who is different for the bit. That's Derek, if anyone does it. I am never trying to be different for any reason other than I'm right. Whenever I give a take on the podcast, especially the ones I feel strongly about, that is 100% honest, even if it is different on those occasions. I'm never doing it for the bit. Now, am I dialing up the intensity for the podcast? Sometimes. Just when I think it's funny. Am I dialing up the grumpiness for the podcast? Sometimes, again, when I think it's funny. Am I grumpy and stubborn in real life? Yes. But yeah, I'm never just doing it for the bit to be different. Here's what I can promise you. Every opinion I give, unless I'm obviously joking, being sarcastic, that'll be 100% honest.
And I think me and Derek can kind of vouch for that. Ryan is the exact same way in real life, off the podcast.
One of Ryan's favorite compliments he's ever received in his life. Someone once told him that he's the realest person that they've ever met. And that was 15 years ago, almost, and he's never forgotten that compliment. I did not pay him that compliment. That was our other friend, Sarah. So, Sarah, he still thinks about that compliment.
Yep.
But yeah, I would agree that he dials up the intensity a little bit. For me personally, and I did respond on Spotify, I'll reiterate it again here. we talk a lot about Survivor and we agree on pretty much all of it. Like 80 to 90% solidly, and it's probably north of 90. So when I find something where I have a genuine opinion, and those of you who know me, I love to debate, I love to argue, and I also think that I'm right. But I'm also willing to speak less uncertainties than Ryan is. Ryan is very much, this doesn't appear to be the case. It is the case. Only there's a saying out there, only angels appear. I genuinely think that Ryan is wrong when I am fighting him with one of my opinions. And I will continue to do so. And I also really like the fun of leaning into that like 10% of times where we just don't agree on something that we both care about as much as we do, especially when we've got no actual game experience to back it up.
And for me personally, I feel like I play the middle ground a lot. That's just, that's kind of my personality in general. I don't usually have hot takes or strong disagreeing opinions, but when I do, I will, dig my heels in because it doesn't come around often. So when it does, I want to make sure that my opinion is known on those very few occasions.
And when it does happen, it is a treat.
Those are some of my favorite moments when Josh is just up in arms, stick of dynamite lit
Out of
in each
nowhere.
hand.
Yeah, exactly. He is lit a stick of dynamite. He's gonna tell you how it is, and if you don't listen in, he will drop the dynamite. Yeah, it's rare, but he's got a box of dynamite with him.
And you know what? In many ways, when he does that, I don't know if it's for the listeners, but like I definitely really listen because he so rarely does it. Scarcity has increased the value of a Josh valid crash out, So
I sit up a little straighter when he starts doing it.
yeah, I have to lean forward and really lock in.
Look, if all of your takes are hot takes, people just get desensitized and they don't take you as seriously.
That's true.
I would like to say that that's all, part of my madness, but it's not. It's not.
Great question, Blake.
And a fair
Great
one.
question. Rachel asks, are there any people who you think are most likely to make it to the merge so far?
Basically anyone on Kalo or Sela at this point. That Vatu tribe, that group, I'm worried about them. And then I would throw in the people who are in those idol feuds. I think they're at risk. Everybody else, I think, is pretty safe to make it to the merge.
I don't want to posit on who's going to make it to the merge. I think that the edit is giving us some point of views to follow that'll help us maybe pick some, post mergers. I want to know how big the merge is going to be. Is it going to be like 16 people?
Yeah.
Is that the intent? I don't know. And so I'm excited to see how many people.
I think the people who we haven't really seen a whole lot from, people like Tiffany, we haven't seen Colby in a while, Camilla, I think they are very likely going to make the merge. Don't know how far they'll go in this game, but it would just feel weird if they exited really at this point.
I wonder, I have a theory. I wonder if we'll do like a merge fairly early and then maybe unmerge for like 2 episodes, because we've done the thing where we split them into 2 groups for 1 episode. What if we did for 2 and do an unmerge?
That'd be cool.
Okay.
I could see that.
I'm down.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
50,
Yeah.
do whatever. And then from Yusuf, I tossed this one in there just because I knew Ryan would really enjoy talking about it. Yusuf just says, maybe the Mr. Beast box is the reward of a reward challenge, except you don't know what's inside until you win it. Worth playing for?
I would happily say no to Mr. Beast's face. Jeff too. 100% be happy for be like, no, it's not worth it. What's inside the box? Oh, you're not going to tell me? Cool. I think I'm sitting out this one, Jeff.
Another one of our listeners reached out and said that on Beast games, they have the Beast coin that you flip, which could double the prize. So maybe he'll bring the Beast coin out and the $1 million prize gets doubled to 2 million. If that's all that Mr. Beast does, sure. I'm down for something like that.
That would probably be like the best case scenario, like a chance to up it for everyone to 2 million. Cool. That's fine.
But
and you're risking, like, in that scenario in Beast games, you risk your life in the game. Like, if it's Tails, they would have been out of the game completely. If they would have some sort of penalty for losing the coin flip, I would hope that'd be go to tribal. Maybe it's part of the
no,
go to
God,
tribal.
no.
I'm just saying not. We're talking about $1 million here.
Who
Like, if you're
gives a
doubling
crap?
it from 1 million to 2 million, I'm saying like it would have to be bigger than just losing your vote, but not as big as, hey, you're out of the game.
You know what? I'll say this. As long as it's not mandatory, if Mr. Beast says one of you might lose, but I will double the prize if you flip heads, as long as they have the right to say no.
Sure.
then they can do what they want.
Which they did in Beast Games. It was completely
Yes.
voluntary,
Yep.
and someone actually volunteered. It was like peer pressure.
Yeah,
that
and
person
doubled-
was an idiot.
And doubled the pot. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Thanks for the question. Let's get this over with.
Yep.
Is what I think.
Yep.
No,
Yep.
Mr. Beast.
Yeah. Get the Mr. Beast over
Yeah,
with.
Let's wrap that part up. Okay. Anything else, guys?
You know, the only thing that I want to bring up, the first part of Dalton's question was growth that we've achieved since 2022. All I want to say is if there's someone out there who loves Survivor, just tip them on to us, because the stats actually say 80% of new people who find our podcast stick around, which is a really, really, really cool number in any kind of medium.
Yeah.
So
That's an insane stat.
So let us know. I would still say we're relatively obscure. Obviously, we don't have, you know, all the credibility out there, but we can offer you earnestness, candor, passion, and we're giving it to you straight. With Survivor as a product and Survivor as a show, but also as a game. So if you like that, just know that if you tell someone about us, there's an 80% chance so far that they will like it. So that's my one plug. I promise not to do that again until finale night.
Okay. So yeah, get your picks in, get your questions, get your comments, and get everything in. Anything else, guys?
That's it.
All right. Well, this has been the Castaway Consultants.
Got nothing else for you.
Good night.